welcome to a Five Nights at Freddy's theory. A Five Nights at Freddy's movie theory. So, today is the day that we finally, after all these many months, finally, I am putting my hand into the theories of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Let's do this. So, there is a lot to discuss. There is a lot to discuss. Because the movie has a lot of things that are very interesting. Very interesting story-wise. So, let's jump into it. So, let's talk about the victims of the murders at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and about Mike Schmidt's family, and what role they have in this madness. That is what we are set out to discuss today. Let's do this. Alright, so, let's talk about the missing children. They're in the movie, but there is one that is seems way more aware than the others, and that is the child that is stuffed in Golden Freddy. And throughout the movie, it seems to confirm that Golden Freddy is a ghost. That begs the question, who is Golden Freddy's kid? Like, before the madness, before the tragedy, what is his role in this tragedy? What is his deal? So, first off, there are 4 victims, and then a 5th victim. And we see a minigame at the beginning of the movie that, in 8-bit, depicts the missing children's incident. Foxy is taken first, and Bonnie is taken last. But there's something very, very interesting. The reason that they are all there in the first place, the reason for the tragedy itself, and that is a birthday party. And whose birthday party was it? This is a question that is very interesting, because all these kids are standing, watching the show together. Watching Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, and Foxy together. Which means they are friends. But friends to whom specifically? Friends to each other, obviously, but who is Golden Freddy? I propose the chilling theory that Golden Freddy, the kid that possesses the Golden Freddy suit, and is also a ghost, that he is the reason that all of his friends became possessed robots and killed by a murderous, wicked, evil, monstrous son of a gun named William Afton. You might be like, huh? Well, think about it. He brought them to a party. Why do I say that? Well, in a scene that did not show up in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but if you played the Five Nights at Freddy's movie game, you got a link to a video. It was a video of 8 or so minutes. It was released by Universal, and it was hidden. Only those who beat the game or knew the code would find it. And so, what did it reveal about a piece that's never talked about in the movie? There's a woman, a reporter, that is talking about the missing children's incident after a birthday party. So that is why I am telling you that this one detail, that it was a birthday party removed from the movie or not even put in the movie itself, tells us one important fact. Someone, one of the 5, was having a birthday. And I suspect that the kid that birthday was held for at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was the Golden Freddy child. Alright, with that over with, there's so many other things and other characters we could discuss, but I want to talk about something that has always bugged me over my many watches of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It's one thing that has bothered me. How do the ghosts know Abby? I mean, before Mike takes the job. It's never touched. And Abby seems pretty nonchalant about, ghosts possessing robots. And she calls them her friends. Where do we see this also in a Five Nights at Freddy's canon? The crying child. Interesting, because we know that the family of the crying child has at least 3 siblings. Interesting. And not just 3 siblings, but 2 brothers and 1 sister. Interesting. How there's a parallel between that. Isn't it interesting? So, Mike's family. Let's look at Mike's family. He has his dad, who I'll touch on real soon, because I feel that he is a linchpin in the whole story of the movie. He's rarely talked about, but he seems to be more important than the movie is letting on. So, continuing. So, Mike's family has a father and a mother, Mike being the oldest, his younger brother Garrett, who was kidnapped by William Afton, and we'll get back to that, at a park, and Abby, the newest member of the family. So, it is time to talk about Mike's father and what sinister role he has in this chilling story of murder. and of spring lock failure, and of horrible, horrible events. So, this is my question. Who is Mike's father? I have two thoughts on Mike's father. Mike's father went on a camping trip. Mike's father, from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, went on a camping trip, and that is where his youngest son was kidnapped and eventually murdered, as we are revealed in the scene with William Afton, saying, and I quote, "First I killed your brother, now I kill you. Symmetry, my friend." Interesting. So, continuing. The whole kidnapping of Garrett is also one of those things that are just very off to me. It's states away. It's really off to me. It's very off to me. Think about it. William Afton had to drive states away. First off, why? Unless his father or mother had something to do with the events. I have a theory about who Mike's father is. I believe that he was a technician. I think Mike's father was a technician at Freddy's. That would explain two things. One, but not just a technician, mind you. Someone more important than just a technician, but a technician nonetheless. Someone who knows how the suits work. Possibly the person we see in the movie when Mike turns on the TV and puts the VHS tape into the TV. It shows a commercial of sorts, something that tells the employee what is going on. We see a VHS tape of this lady, and she's talking about how you're the face of Freddy Fazbear's, and you're in charge of these wonderful creatures. But there's a moment in all the VHS tape that's interesting. When it talks about the technology of the robots, there's a man who looks very similar to Mike's father. It might be nothing. But here's something that's interesting. Garrett was kidnapped states away from the state where Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is in, most likely in the summer, seeing how the setting is and seeing how summer. And what else do we know that most likely took place in summer? The missing children's incident. So, this is very interesting. William Afton had to have known someone in the Schmidt family. Maybe Schmidt is a business partner, or was, in the movie's universe, William Afton's business partner, which would explain why the dead kids know Abby. Because other than that, we assume that he has nothing to do with Freddy's, except for his brother being kidnapped. But then why would they talk to Abby? Very interesting. It's that connection, though. That connection, the kids know Abby. It's very interesting. Very interesting. But I do believe that Mike's father has a bigger role. Just from William being and driving states away. He had to have known. And it's the beginning when his name is mentioned. "I don't know what your deal is, Mike." And he pauses. For an uncomfortable time. He pauses. He recognizes the name. And who could he have recognized but one of the parents? Thus, the murders were planned by William Afton. The murder of Garrett and the murders at Freddy's were planned by William Afton. But Garrett seems more personal than the others. I mean, you would have to drive at least through one other state to get to Nebraska. And then what? Why? But here's another thing. We know that Mike's father most likely worked with William Afton. We know that mostly by that awkward and very weird pause in the movie. "I don't know what your deal is, Mike Schmidt." He recognizes the name. He recognizes the name. So, one more thought on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So the kids somehow know Abby. Before he has even gotten to Freddy's. She calls them her friends. The crying child at the ending of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and at the beginning too, friends. Who are, and to be honest, doesn't this confirm that the plushies are not just plushies, but representing the dead children, which means that just like in the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 4 series of games, and the movie are interlinked. That is interesting. But if you have any other thoughts, let me know, because there's a lot of theories that can come from just the smallest of details, because the Five Nights at Freddy's story for the movie seems very complex. And it's very interesting, because we know from the scenes released by Universal that the children were killed at a birthday party. And we know that it happened. We know the year that it happened, too, by the way. We know that it happened in 1987. We know that Garrett's kidnapping and murder, most likely, happened in 1987. And we can just assume that after killing Garrett, and maybe doing something, I don't know, we'll wait for that second movie coming out this coming December of the coming year of 2025. But here's a thing that I've thought a lot. If Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was up and running before the murders, then how could any of it happen? How? Like, why these kids? Why these kids? Why did William Afton pick these? There's symmetry, as he says to Michael in the final battle. Symmetry, my friend, when referring to, first I killed your brother, now I kill you. Symmetry, my friend. William Afton loves symmetry. So what is the significance of the 5 missing children? Thus, there's more questions than we can ask. But in the meantime, remember, there's a lot more at Freddy's, and more dark secrets at Freddy's than meets the eye. And also, have a wonderful, spectacular day, and welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place where kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Thank you, and good night.